I'm a retired naval officer presently at Mumbai. I felt the need to do this course primarily because while I was in the service, we had little or no idea about this act itself. Although there are women in the armed forces now, but there was very little awareness about this act. In my personal case, I got to know about this act after I had retired from service. So imagine, I would like to consider myself to be fairly knowledgeable about the regulations which are, kind of there in the services. But about this, I had no idea at all. So I felt the need, and especially with the growing number of women who are entering the armed forces, I thought it'd be good for officers and others to know about the regulations which exist regarding this particular conduct at workplace, and especially women at workplace, how you need to conduct yourself around them. CHRMP was introduced to me by a fellow participant, Deepika Mahajan, and she said that it's a good place to start something about, your corporate HR learning if you intend getting into corporate HR. And the other reason why I thought I must do this course was a little, I would say, not directly related with the subject of the course, but to know the people who were the participants of this course and to get to engage with them and to get to learn something about what they were doing in the corporate sector, and in particular the HR in their corporate sector. So in the half partition that was done, there was a close interaction, and I think I got to know a lot, learn a lot by engaging with the other participants about what they were doing in their workspaces. And also, of course, the course itself was thoroughly engaging, I would say, I learned a huge amount from the facilitators and from the fellow participants, because the fellow participants also carried an equal amount of experience with them. We had highly experienced CHROs and trainers, etc., in our own cohort who were able to kind of help us with our learning process and clear whatever doubts we may have had from the class. I also think that the classes were very well designed. Indrani did not get into specifics of the act and didn't, make us learn as the act and the sections of the act and whatever else, but she kind of covered things in a broad fashion. However, she did introduce us to the India Code, where we could go through, the act in detail and learn about the act ourselves. And of course, like I think Bala mentioned, there was a fairly great amount of learning material which was available on the site, on the website, where we could self-learn and, prepare ourselves for the class before the class actually started. Would I recommend the course to my colleagues? Definitely, because I feel there is little or very little knowledge about this particular thing in the armed forces. I would definitely recommend people who do have the need to, kind of sitting in judgment, to be fully aware of the nitty-gritty of the act. And I would, at the end, like to really commend our two facilitators, Indrani in particular, and Vega also, for kind of engaging us in such a thorough manner. In fact, like we were discussing, that Indrani really had this knack to leave the self-learning aspect, and she gave, I think, a great amount of importance to that part, as to how we need to kind of not only be fed with a spoon, but learn the thing ourselves as well. So thanks to both of them. And I think they did a great job with our cohort.